The durability of tools can be an annoyance, but also sometimes mean the difference between life and death. But what if you could make them indestructible? With the Eternal Stella, this becomes a reality. It is a magical item that can be created using the Hephaestus Forge of Forbidden and Arcanus. Also, you will need 4 Eternal Stella as a material for the older mod's staff. I will show you today the different tiers of forges, enhancer relics, and ritual essences you will need. So let's get right into it. So now we can get started. At the bottom you can see the resources you're going to need. So you're going to need 61 polished darkstones. Then you have arcane chiseled polished darkstone. For this one you're going to need chiseled polished darkstone, which you can make out of 2 slabs, or you can also use the stone cutting tool, and then you add in a Derum nugget. Lastly, we have 4 chiseled arcane polished darkstone. The names are really close, be careful of that. And for that you need 2 darkstone slabs or arcane polished darkstone slabs are made out of those blocks, and those are made out of polished darkstone and Derum ingot. So again, you have 61, 9 and 4, and how we're going to place it. So first off, right in the center you place 1 chiseled polished darkstone, and around that you're going to place the 4 chiseled ones. So already this one is gone. From here I would just recommend you to first just build a 7 by 7 square. So this is like this. And then you're just going to add in those 3 pieces to make it kind of roundish. Okay, so you can now actually remove those pieces. So we're now doing a second circle inside, and we just go away like 1 block from those. And then in the middle, kind of between those, we place the last one. And now in the center of this, you can place your smithing table. And this one will turn into your forge. For that, you're going to need Mundabidur dust, which you can make out of those materials I showed in the previous video. And now you can just sneak, right click, and you get your Hephaestus forge. And now we're going to have a quick look at the inside of this forge to explain you what this UI means. First off, you have 4 essences you're going to need for your rituals. One of them is Aureal, which you can place here. You have souls, which you place here. You have blood, which you place there. And then we have the experience, which you can fill in this one. Additionally, in the center, you place the block you're going to transform. And then you also have 1, and then later on more slots to add enhancer relics. Now to get to the essences you're going to need for the rituals. So for Aureal, you have 2 options. First off, you have the Aureal bottle. This one you can craft by combining a potion of regeneration 2 together with 8 arcane crystal dust, which makes you 1 bottle. But there's also a second option, which is the arcane crystal obelisk. This one you can't really craft, but you can build it. So you're just going to need 1 arcane polished darkstone. On top of that, you're going to add 2 arcane crystal blocks, which look really shiny. And then you sneak right click on that one, and it turns into a arcane crystal obelisk. And this one you can just like pick up with a pickaxe, and then you're good to go. Like you can just move it around. And this one is going to passively fill up the Aureal. So now I place a couple more of the obelisks, and if we have a look, by sneak right clicking we can speed up the obelisk, and we should get more Aureal more quickly. But if you do it on multiple obelisks and you like place all of them and speed up all of them, you should be able to fill it up quite quickly, as you can see right here. Next up we have the souls. So we have the normal souls as well as the enchanted souls. The normal souls you can get as shown in the previous video from Soul Sand. A lot of the things I'm going to explain to you here are based on the previous videos. I would definitely recommend you to check it out. And then we also have the enchanted souls. Those you cannot get from Soul Sand. You can only find them flying around in the wild. I will show you here a quick clip how a lost soul may look like. And then there's a chance that one of those lost souls is a enchanted soul. These 2 souls also have a different value. So we have right now 0 out of 10 souls. If I place a normal soul, this one's going to increase by 1. If I'm going to put a enchanted soul, it's completely full. So actually an enchanted soul is going to give you 10 out of 10 souls in comparison to 1 soul from the normal one. For the blood, you have 2 options. Either you can kill mobs directly on this platform, which is going to increase the blood step by step, but you can also use a mystical dagger together with a test tube. The test tube is quite easy to craft. It's just a normal glass bottle with a rune, so really easy. And then if you now kill mobs with this dagger, it's going to fill up the tube with blood while you do it. Quickly put it in, And now it's going to fill up our blood. Now we have 240 out of 10,000. Lastly, we have the experience. For that, we have 3 ways of doing it. First off, we have the X Petrified Orb. I showed you previously how you can get that. You have the Bottle of Enchanting. And lastly, you have enchanted items. So this would be if you have an enchanted pickaxe, you could put it inside of here. And then it would also take off the enchantment to fill up the experience. So we can have a quick look with the Bottle of Enchanting. You're going to get 15 experience. If you put the X Petrified Orb, you're going to get 91 experience. So in general, I would recommend to go with the X Petrified Orb and just either farm it through the ores or get it through the black hole. Also in the forge, we had a space for enhancer relics. Of those, there are 4 different types. We have the Crimson Stone. This one you can find in pillager outposts in the chests. Then we have the Artisan Relic, which you can get from villager buildings, and especially from the armorer, toolsmith, and weaponsmiths. Then we have the Elementarium, which you can get from jungle temples, desert pyramids, and underwater ruins. And then we have the Maledictus Pact, which you can get from Bastion treasure rooms. However, one quick thing to mention, I think the Enhancer Relics, at least some of them, are not fully enabled. For instance, the Maledictus Pact, I have not found any recipe to use it with, as well as some other relics. You might have seen it in the preview of the items that there are more relics. However, those are currently not implemented, so there's no recipe or no loot table to get those items. So just if you try to find them, sadly, they're currently not available. But for the ones up here, you can indeed find them. And I would highly recommend you again to use a structure compass and then just sneak right click and try to type in, for instance, let's go for Jungle Temple, and then you can find them there. And to talk about the use cases. So first off, we have the Crimson Stone. This one is going to decrease the amount of souls you're going to need. Then we have the Artisan Relic, which is going to reduce the amount of experience you need. Then you have the Elementarium. This one you're going to need for certain recipes. So mostly those prisms you can see over there, those small pyramids. And as I said, the Maledictus Pact currently doesn't have any fact. Like it says, allows the creation of cursed items. However, I have not seen it working on any kind of item or recipe. So if you know any recipe, please let me know in the comments. But from my side, I was not able to find anything. And the last thing we need to talk about are the different items you can craft and also the different tiers. There are 2 items you can craft with the lowest tier, which is going to be a Ferrognetic mixture and a Smelter Prism. Those 2 you can craft directly. For the Ferrognetic mixture, you're going to need clay, wax, and slime balls, as well as an iron ingot. And in the center, you're going to put a lodestone. But you might be asking, well, how are you going to add all of those additional items? So for that, you're going to need another item. This item is the Darkstone Pedestal. You can make it out of some Darkstone slabs, the polished Darkstone pillar, and a polished Darkstone. And then you can place those on the pre-made spots. You might have to remove your arcane crystal blocks actually for that, since most of the recipes need a lot of space. So for this one, you're going to need 8 pedestals. So we would need to destroy those 2. And that's how it's going to look like for the first recipe. And this is how it's going to look like for our Ferrogenic mixture. For that, you're going to just place all the materials. So you just right click and then you just add them to the pedestals. And in the center, you place, as I mentioned before, the main item shown inside of those brackets, which is in our case the lodestone. One thing to mention also, when you have those recipes up, you can check how much of each of the essences you're going to need. So for instance, you need 100 Aureal, 2 souls, 1250 blood, and 0 experience actually. And it also shows you which forge tier you're going to need. Now that we're ready, we can start crafting. And for that, you're going to need a blacksmith gavel. This one I also showed in the previous video, and you have different stages, so you don't need to use the highest one. There are different ones from wood up to netherite, as well as the iron one. And now you just have to right click on the Hephaestus forge, and then the ritual is going to begin. This takes actually multiple seconds, I think like 20 to 25 seconds until it's finished. So it's not broken, it just takes a while, and I will see you in a second. Getting to the end of it, we have our Ferrognetic. So we have our mixture. I'm going to just call it mixture from now, so I don't have to mess with the name. And this one has 2 use cases. So first off, you can use it to craft boots. So you take any kind of boots together with the mixture, together with a smithing template. This one is also a new one. This one you can craft by combining Darkstone with the netherite upgrade. And then you can craft yourself some magnetized netherite boots in the smithing table. And if you put those on, it's a small effect, but we can quickly throw it over, an item over there. And actually, it should pull in earlier. So it increases the pickup radius of all the items. And the second one, you can sneak right click on your pedestals to turn them into magnetized darkstone pedestals. The difference between the two is you can drop items to place them on top of it. The benefit of this is you can kind of automate your Arcanus production with that. So you can just make all of the magnetic and then have droppers dropping items on top of them and then like interact with the Hephaestus Forge. However, there's also other ways, especially if you play Forbidden and Arcanus in a mod pack. You can use modular routers, for instance, also to place blocks on this. Next up, we have the Smelter Prism. This one is made out of 3 place powder, 1 arcane crystal block in the forge itself, 2 coal, and this is the first one where you need the Elementarium Enhancer Relic. And for the values you need 200 Aureal, 4 souls, 1250 blood, and no experience. And now we have all our resources ready for place powder, 2 coal, Elementarium, as well as the arcane crystal block. And now we can right click with our hammer and it's going to transform. And with that, we have our Smelter Prism. Also, to quickly showcase, the relic stays the same. So you only need 1 relic for each of the prisms if you want to craft them. And the use case of the Smelter Prism is that you can combine it with tools. So you can mainly add it to your pickaxe. And now this one has auto smelting. The good thing is you can also combine it together with fortune. So if I'm now going to go into survival mode, I'm not going to just get 1 gold, but also in some cases more gold, which is directly smelted into my inventory. Now we are at the point where we have to increase our forge tier. So as you can see, this is the first stage and this is the second one if you want to make the Terrastomp Prism. So for that, you're going to need to upgrade this one inside of this ritual table. And here you can find all the details. So to upgrade from tier 1 to tier 2, you're going to need 4 arcane crystals, 4 spawner scraps, 1 edelwood plank in the center, and then your essences need to be 500, 10 souls, 6000 blood, and 0 experience. And this is how it's going to look like when you place all the resources, and then we can right click to upgrade our forge. And now we have a second tier forge. And while recording the video, I noticed now that the Hephaestus Forge can be quite buggy, sadly. So before you craft a new recipe, always once destroy the forge, place it down again, and then refill the resources, or you won't be able to click on it even if the recipe is correct. I'm not sure why this is currently happening. I would hope that it's just a bug and getting fixed in the future. So now we're talking about the Terrastomp Prism. This one you can craft out of 2 flintstone, 2 dripstone blocks, and 2 pointed dripstones. In the center you have a block of diamond. We need the Elementarium Relic, and you're going to need 300 Aureal, 9 souls, 1500 blood, and 0 experience. And we need our tier 2 forge. And as you can see, we have the same issue as I talked before. So now all the resources are there. We have the relics, we have all the Aureal we should need, but it's still not working. And I can show you if I now take this block, place it down again, and click, it's working. So sadly, this is one big issue I noticed with the Forbidden Arcanus Forge, that it's sadly a bit buggy at times. And now we have our resource, our Terrastomp Prism. So what can you do with the Terrastomp Prism? This one you can add to your tools to give them a AoE effect. I've primarily tested it with the pickaxe. I tried it with the hoe and it didn't work. So it's not going to give you a 3x3 hoeing area or whatever you want to call it, but it definitely works for the pickaxe. Okay, now I found a clear wall, which is 1 material. And so on the stone, you can now see that it's going to destroy a 3x3 area. And that's already all the recipes we can do with a tier 2 forge. And next up, we need to upgrade to tier 3. For that, we need 4 Dirum ingots, 4 arcane crystals, 1 chiseled polished darkstone, and together with that, 1000 Aureal, 50 souls, 9000 blood, and 0 experience. And now we have our forge ready. We can right click it to transform it. And with that, we have our tier 3 Hephaestus Forge. So with our new forge, we can create 3 new items. We have the Woven Prism, which does have a recipe. However, sadly, it currently doesn't have any use cases, so you can't apply it to any armor. I hope this will be added in the future. So here you have the recipe if you want to have a look. Then we have the Sea Prism. This one can be crafted and it can also be applied, but I did a couple of test rounds and tried to find out what is it doing besides adding this nice blue column around it, and I couldn't find anything. So it's not adding any respiration, it's not making you be able to breathe underwater, you're not faster underwater. So sadly, also currently for those two, we have no use case. However, the item everyone is looking for, Eternal Stella, is working. So for this one, you can create it by combining 1 diamond in the center, 3 X petrified orb, 1 stellarite piece, and you need 82 Aureal, 1 soul, 1000 blood, and no experience. And now with our resources ready, we can right click on the forge, and this is it. So we have now our item. So now that we have our Eternal Stella, I want to talk about the use cases. So there's 3 in total. The first one we can show quickly with our tools here. So I quickly reduced the durability of them, and if we right click, both of them are going to fill up all of their durability. And this one is connected to the use cases. So you can see right now it's only 2. So when you craft it, you have 3, and now you have 2 left. To the next use case, it is craft a resource for the Oblivion shard. So you're going to need 4 Eternal Stella and some other items. And then this one is going to be needed for the Odomotium star. So definitely something you can aim for. And the other main use case for a lot of people, you can use it to make every single, like, you can see 176 pages of items you can just turn into an eternal object, which means it's not going to use any durability at all. To quickly display this, I'm going to do it on the worst item possible, on a wooden pickaxe, and now I have a eternal wooden pickaxe. Isn't that beautiful? One thing to mention also, you can't combine multiple upgrades from this mod, so you can't make a eternal demolishing pickaxe. You can only do one of the different options you found here. Additionally, to mention, you can also craft a higher tier than the tier 3 forge. So there's a tier 4 and even a tier 5 forge. However, they're currently not needed for any specific recipes. So they only have the normal upgrading recipes. So you can craft the tier 3 to tier 4 with stellarite pieces, runes, the chiseled darkstone, and the essences. And you can then upgrade this one to the tier 5. However, as I mentioned, there's currently no reason to do it since you can do everything with the tier 3. If they are adding in the future more recipes, then you can definitely aim for the higher forges. That's all for now on the Hephaestus forge. If more recipes are added, I will create an updated guide for you. Also, as a quick announcement, I have created a Discord server for the community to chat and receive direct help from me. Additionally, I have added channel memberships. So if you want to support me and my videos by also getting rewards such as Discord ranks or loyalty badges, which I actually created myself, then make sure to check the 2 links in the description. And with that, I wish you all an amazing day.